We speak about the gospel. We speak of who Jesus is. We speak of what Jesus has done. We speak of the implication of knowing who Jesus is and what he has done. And then we speak of the requirement of becoming a witness. When this 4 is in place, then the full scope of the gospel has been communicated. And so for tonight, because we are in the Holy Week, the season of Easter, I want us to look at the finished works of Christ and the implications of the finished works. Now, for salvation, our focus will be based on death, burial, and resurrection, right? But for eternal, victorious existence, the scope is a bit broader. And I'm going to deal with the full scope of the works of Jesus Christ. When you study the works of Jesus, there are 2 components to the works of Jesus. There's what we call the finished works, and there's what we call the final work. The final work is what Jesus will do at the second coming, because the works of Jesus are not yet finished. But at touching your salvation and your victorious living, it's finished. But there's yet another work that is coming to do. So when we look at the scope of the works of Jesus, we are looking at the finished works, and then we will look at the final work. The finished work holistically encompasses, number 1, his incarnation. Number 2, his sinless life. Number 3, his public ministry. Number 4, his death. Number 5, his burial. Number 6, his resurrection. Number 7, his ascension. And number 8, his exaltation or enthronement. Any Christian who will live and express everything God has in mind for him must understand the implication of these 8 works of Jesus Christ. If you understand the 3, death, burial, resurrection, you will be perfectly saved. But if you don't know about the ascension, you may not walk in your calling. It is when he ascended on high that he gave gifts unto men and says some are apostles. I am completely saved, perfect believer, if I know death, burial, resurrection. But it takes my understanding of ascension to walk as an apostle. So you see that the scope of the works of Jesus does not begin and end with salvation. If I will function by the power of the Holy Spirit, I must know about his exaltation. The Spirit has not yet been given because Christ has not yet been glorified. Why are you speaking in tongues? Why are you full of the Spirit? Acts 2:33. This same Jesus that you crucified is today exalted both as Lord and Christ. So it is our revelation of his exaltation that causes us to walk in the power of the Holy Spirit. Tonight, I want to deal with the finished works of Christ and the implications. Implications of the works of Christ. We deal with the incarnation. The incarnation is simple. It's God in flesh. John 1:14. The Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us, and we beheld his glory.